Hello, so this is the third development diary here for my shoot 'em up prototype with the World War II theme. And yesterday, while I was still on the weekend, I got the flak turrets here to basically actually damage the player with health, and it's also on a fall off radius as well. So the closer they are to the player, they do full damage, as you can see, and then far away from the player they do very little or no damage at all. They're pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I can go over that in more detail, but today, just to keep the video short, what I accomplished today was a weapon manager on my player object, or the player aircraft. And basically this doesn't do anything with the firing and all of that. That actually happens with these weapon firing scripts on the actual firing points where the weapons are fired from. But the weapon manager is going to be more of like a really high level script here that's going to control all the different types of weapons that I can have on this aircraft, or that I could pick up during the course of the game. And it also will contain how much ammunition and count that I have for each one, so that when I hit pickups or things in the world, this will be the actual high-level single location that will add ammunition and add bonuses and add weapons. So at that point, we don't have to worry about all these other smaller little scripts that handle the weapon firing and everything, because at the high level, this script will control it. And it's really simple so far. And basically, I mean, I worked all day today at Lockheed and then came home and started this script. So we just have an enumeration here, which is just kind of like a a list of objects or values of data in here. And I just said, hey, let's just call this enumeration weapon type. We can have bullets, we can have cannon, rockets, bombs. We can even go in here and add a new one. I just hit Control S to save. We go back, wait for the script to compile. In this enumeration, our new option to shoot cats will appear. So it's pretty cool, pretty extendable. And then to expose it publicly in the inspector, just create a variable for the type of itself, and there you see it as a pull down in the inspector. The weapon index was just, this will actually be privatized, but I made it public so that I could watch it cycle through kind of as a debug. So when I hit the tab key, I can see the current weapon index counting up 0, 1, 2, 3. So 4 values, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And at the same time, as I'm tabbing through, it's cycling through the different types of weapons. So the current weapon index actually represents the weapon that's the current one selected. And I opened up Outlook in the background for some odd reason, so we can privatize that. We don't need to see it. The ammo are unused at this time. Okay, so when the scene starts up and the player starts up, we just always make sure that our weapon type defaults to just standard machine gun bullets. And then we call a change weapon down here, which is just checking if the current weapon index is a certain value, then set it to that weapon. And we just make sure and start. Though we've kind of redundant, we've done it here. It's just a safety check, I suppose, right? And then an update. I may very well move this into a coroutine or something like that, because we really probably don't need to check weapon switching every, 30 or 60 times a frame. We can probably check it once every second or once every half second. So we'll probably move that into a coroutine later. But, for early code, we can be a little bit looser, right? And here's where it's looking for the tab. And we won't want to hard code this. Eventually, we will want to make sure that if this is a PC build, we use the tab button. If this is the mobile build, then we use the NGUI UI button to cycle through. And we just current weapon index, when you're holding down the key or hitting the key tab, we just add 1 to it. That's what plus plus is, and that's what allows it to count up 0, 1, 2, 3. We've also hard coded another value here because honestly my programming knowledge is limited at this point, and I'd have to Google it, but I didn't know if I could find the length of an enumeration, like how many. I think it might be count. I know in an array it's length, and in a list it's count, but in an enumeration, I don't know how to get how many this represents. These are 4 items, but I'm going to have to look into enumerations and see how I could do that. So I just hard-coded it and said, if the current weapon index is greater than 3, turn back around and reset yourself to 0, right? So every time I was hitting tab and it was going 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, this is actually where that was happening. And after we've cycled through and hit tab, and while we've hit tab there, let's just call this change weapon again method down here, and just look in this and just do a check, right? What's the current weapon index? If it's 0, it's a bullet. If it's 1, it's a cannon. And what this allows us to do is just keep tapping a little button on screen, or just swiping on screen, or whatever's the most intuitive control mechanism, and easily, rapidly switching through different weapons. I could even set it to where if you shake the phone a certain direction, or the mobile device, that it would actually switch quickly between these different weapons and cycle through them. And of course the check ammo will eventually be a method or function there that is going to keep track of how much ammunition we have, and if we hit like if we go over a pickup item or something like that, it'll add to this, right? And then I'm going to close this out, and then this weapons manager is going to go and find all of these weapon fire in children, and depending on what type of weapon this is, a bullet, a cannon, it will go into the children and it will set things like the frequency and the cone angle and the damage that it can do. And our master weapons manager script will take care of changing all of these values that we need that are specific to a cannon or a bullet or a bomb. The bomb may actually be a slightly different method entirely than just like a raycast firing, because the bomb's a little bit different and more of a vertical weapon than a horizontal. So that's what I got accomplished today, probably in about an hour and a half, 2 hours after the day job. So it's doable. And, you know, sometimes I'm doing these little development diaries, not just for you guys, but for myself, to let myself know, hey, it wasn't much today, but I made a little bit of progress in this prototype. So hopefully you guys will be around and listen in for the 4th development diary.